The sun beat down upon the cracked soil of a remote village, where the winds carried whispers of dust and despair. Among the withered fields and broken fences lived a boy named Ahil. He was 17, wiry and sunburnt, with calloused hands hardened by years of unpaid labor. His eyes, though weary, still held the glimmer of hope, the kind of hope that survives only in those who have known nothing but hardship. Ahil's world was confined to the mud-walled house he shared with his father, mother, and 2 elder brothers. But family was a word that never brought him comfort. His father, a bitter man shaped by poverty and rage, saw Ahil as the mistake that should never have been born. His brothers treated him worse than an animal, using him as a punching bag whenever anger or boredom struck. And his mother, though present in body, had long since surrendered her spirit to silence. Ahil slept in the corner of the animal shed, ate only what was left on the plates after his family finished their meals, and bore scars no one ever asked about. The village turned a blind eye. "It's his family matter," they'd say, shaking their heads, then moving on with their lives. But Ahil had dreams, secret, tender ones. He would lie on his straw mat and stare through the wooden slits in the wall at the stars. One of them, he believed, would carry him away someday. Somewhere far from pain, somewhere beautiful. That place came into his life one summer afternoon. It was the annual festival at the town's edge, a rare event that drew people from nearby cities. For the first time, vehicles poured into the village, and with them came perfume-scented air, laughter, and women in vibrant silk. Among them was Zoya, daughter of a wealthy businessman from the city. She was everything Ahil had never known, soft-spoken, kind-eyed, and radiant in her simplicity. Her father had brought her reluctantly, thinking the trip would be educational. But Zoya found herself curiously drawn to the dusty charm of the village. Their first encounter was unplanned. Ahil, carrying a bundle of firewood, stumbled into her path as she stepped out of her car. Their eyes locked. He muttered an apology and kept walking. She, however, turned to watch him disappear into the crowd. She had never seen such sadness in a young face. Later that evening, fate stepped in again. Ahil was asked to help with the stage setup, and Zoya was seated nearby, sketching the village scene. She recognized him instantly. Something compelled her to speak. "Your name?" she asked gently. "Ahil," he replied, unsure whether to meet her gaze. "I'm Zoya." And that was the beginning. They met every day for the rest of the festival. She would sit by the old banyan tree with her sketchbook, and he would appear, hesitant at first, then gradually more confident. She asked him about the village, about his life. He lied, at first, hiding the bruises and pain. But her eyes saw through him. "You don't deserve the life you have," she whispered one day, holding his hand. "Maybe I do," he replied. "Maybe it's written for people like me. No one deserves cruelty, Ahil." From that day on, Ahil lived for those stolen moments. When the festival ended, and Zoya left, he felt a part of his soul leave with her. But Zoya hadn't forgotten him. She began writing letters, hiding them in parcels sent to a local grocer. Ahil would walk miles to pick them up. They wrote of dreams, of running away, of building a life where love would be the only ruler. Months passed. The letters grew bolder. One day, Ahil wrote, "If I come to your city, will you still love me?" She replied, "I will come for you." And she did. One night, under the cover of stars, Zoya returned in a borrowed car. Ahil, carrying nothing but a small bag and a folded dream, climbed in. They drove for hours, hearts pounding, unaware that shadows were already chasing them. Zoya's city life was nothing like the village. There were walls of glass and carpets that swallowed footsteps. Ahil struggled. He took up small jobs in a garage, then a tea stall. He worked from dawn till midnight, coming home only to collapse in Zoya's arms. They rented a small flat on the outskirts of the city. Neighbors gossiped, but Zoya didn't care. She had left her family, her money, everything, for this boy who looked at her like she was all the light in the world. One rainy evening, they sat on their tiny balcony, sipping chai. "Do you regret it?" Ahil asked. Zoya smiled, resting her head on his shoulder. "Every day is hard. But I've never felt more alive." They married at a small registrar's office, with no guests, no family, only rain for music. Then came the day they found out Zoya was pregnant. Ahil wept when he heard. He fell to his knees and kissed her belly, whispering promises that their child would never know pain, never sleep hungry, never feel unloved. Their son, Ayan, was born on a winter morning. He had his father's eyes and mother's smile. For the first time in his life, Ahil felt complete. Years passed. They built a life simple, poor, but happy. But happiness, in Ahil's world, was always temporary. One evening, as Ahil returned from work, he saw a man standing outside their home. A figure from a nightmare, his elder brother, now older, colder. Behind him stood Zoya, pale and trembling. "You thought you could run forever," the brother hissed. Zoya clutched Ayan to her chest. "Please, he's not the same boy you left behind." The brother didn't listen. He spat out threats, pulled a rusted knife, and lunged. Ahil shielded Zoya, took the first blow. Then came the second, not a blade, but a memory. Of every night he bled in that village. Of every kick. Every slap. He fought back. In the chaos, Zoya screamed. Neighbors arrived. The brother vanished. But peace was broken. And fate, now awake, was hungry for more. Oya's hands trembled for days after Ahil's brother had come and gone like a violent storm. Though their wounds healed, something deeper had been shattered, their fragile safety. Ahil began sleeping with a wooden stick under his pillow. Zoya rarely let Ayan out of her sight. But life, as it does, trudged on. Ayan turned 5, a lively boy with laughter that could fill the room. He would draw with his mother and help his father wash their scooter. Ahil's love for his son was boundless. Every night he whispered stories in his ear, always ending with, "And nothing will ever hurt you, my brave boy." But Ahil had underestimated the cruelty that ran through bloodlines. One rainy night, eerily quiet, a knock echoed through their apartment door. Zoya opened it slowly. No one was there. Just an envelope on the floor. She opened it. Inside was a photo of her father. Alive. With a short note. "You took our name and threw it in the dirt. Now the dirt will take everything you love." Zoya fell to the ground. Her father, a man who once adored her, had disowned her the moment she ran away. For years she thought he had let her go. But power like his never forgets, and pride never forgives. Within weeks, they began to feel it. Ahil lost his job, suddenly, inexplicably. Their landlord raised rent. The grocery shop refused credit. Strangers watched them from across streets. Zoya began to hear rumors. Then came the day when Ayan fell sick. It started with a fever. Then vomiting. Then screaming. They rushed him to a government hospital. The doctor looked grave. His systems shutting down. "We suspect poisoning." Zoya collapsed. Poison? But how? She clutched her son's hand, tears blinding her, while Ahil roared at the doctors, demanded answers. But none came. The next day, Ayan's breath stopped. Just like that. Ahil didn't cry. He sat silently beside the cold body of his son, gently brushing back his hair. Zoya screamed and clawed the walls. Her world, their world, had ended in silence. The autopsy confirmed it, slow poison, administered over days. Their flat had been compromised. Someone had poisoned the milk. Zoya's father's message rang in her ears, "The dirt will take everything you love." They buried Ayan in a quiet cemetery. No one came. No prayers. Just rain. After that, Zoya began to fade. She stopped speaking. Ate barely. Slept rarely. Her eyes became distant, like she was walking backward into time. Ahil tried everything, begged, cooked her favorite foods, even tried to make her laugh with old jokes. But Zoya had left, only her body remained. One night, she took Ahil's hand and whispered, "It's not over." He looked at her, startled. "What?" "They'll come for us next." He held her tight. "I won't let anyone hurt you." But he was wrong. 1 week later, Zoya didn't wake up. She had taken sleeping pills, a full bottle, while Ahil was out trying to find a new job. She left a note. "I kept fighting. But they killed our son. I have nothing left to live for. I will wait for you in a place with no pain. Ahil screamed so loud the neighbors called the police. They took her body. He didn't fight. He just sat a day. 4 hours. Then days. Then he disappeared. For 3 years, no one saw Ahil. They say he wandered from town to town. Slept in parks, worked in factories, wrote letters he never sent. His face changed, thinner, older, hollow. Then, one summer morning, a stranger knocked on a rich man's mansion door. It was Ahil. He asked for 5 minutes with Zoya's father. Surprisingly, he was allowed in. They say no one knows what happened in that room. But the next day, Zoya's father's car exploded in a parking lot. No trace of Ahil was found. But weeks later, in the same graveyard where Ayan and Zoya lay, 3 new flowers appeared. One for Ayan. One for Zoya. And one for a third, unmarked, unnamed. Some say it was Ahil. Some say he's still out there. Writing stories. Looking for stars.